Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Happy New Year. It is now 2026. And yeah, that's about it. Anyway, before we get into what we're going to do today, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. So go ahead and do that if you're interested in the game. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler. So if that's in your wheelhouse, then definitely check it out. You could also support the game on Patreon. The top tier here, if you subscribe for at least 1 month, you will get an Alchemortis Steam key sent to you when the game launches, and your name will be listed in the Alchemortis in-game credits. So please consider doing that if you are able to. And also, I have my Udemy courses, which will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. So if that's been something you've wanted to learn, then check those out. These help me out a lot when you buy them. So yeah, I'd appreciate that. Also, what else? Oh yeah, the Discord is linked in the description below and all that good stuff. So just check out the description. Everything's there. And we could get right into it. Happy New Year to you, Emerson, as well. Hello, Clickertail. Happy New Year, V. Welcome back. How was everyone's New Year's? I was with friends having barbecue. That's awesome. I just spent the night gaming with my friends. Hello, Rin. One second. One second, sorry. Just stayed up and started a new Minecraft hardcore world. Very nice. I was home with my dogs. They got really scared of the fireworks. Hello, Decalift. Welcome, welcome. I miss playing Minecraft, lost my world with my old PC. I think that happens to a lot of people. All right, we'll get right into this in a second. Sorry, I gotta respond to this message. Okay. Rip, yeah. Okay, so what are we doing today? Let's see. I did a bunch of work yesterday. I did notice, so one of my friends play tested the game, and I did notice quite a few issues. So the bugs list has gotten bigger. I think it would be interesting today to start on this card overflow system, but I want to see if I can get through some of these new bugs first. Okay, cat, what is up? Can I work? What is going on here? Okay, I'll show you to the stream. There. Are you happy? You're famous now. Are you happy? Are you happy? Goodness gracious. The dog has the zoomies. The cat is just sitting here meowing at me. It's just like, goodness gracious, there's too much happening. Anyway, if an obelisk reveals a node while simultaneous map nodes are hidden by Inquisition, okay. I want to fix this phylactery. And I did, my friend did encounter the board size invalid problem. So the cards like bugged out because they weren't able to be placed on the board. Ability type tracker provider. So I definitely want to fix these two things. Those are the things that I want to fix right now. So let's start with the board size one because that is a problem. So let me see. I need to be able to reproduce this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so pick modified cards, pick cards. We're just gonna do this. Return card factory dot create card. Well, shoot. Yeah, this should be fine. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Anyway, kitten incoming, yeah. Give him pets and treats. A typo just bolted when I showed your cat he's not hiding under the bed. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. What was the Godot node we'd ever heard about? I guess you'll find out when I make the video. I guess you'll find out when I make the video. I just put it in my Alchemortis board so I can remember it. Card registry.from ID cultist. So just trying to recreate the bug right now, which I think I might be able to just reproduce it with just these two things. Might be able to just do cultist and giant squid. But we'll see. So now if I go to a booster node, we're going to see if this breaks. Happy New Year to you as well, A the Ant. Welcome back. Good to see you. All right, booster. So if I do this... Oh, why did it do... Maybe it was like... Let's see, I'm trying to break this. Maybe candle? I don't know. It broke for my friend last night. And bricked the run because it doesn't, you can't finish pulling cards out of the booster event, but I can't reproduce it now, so we'll see. Nope, that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we'll try giant finger. I wish I would have taken a note of what... I knew it was a cultist and a giant squid, but I didn't really get a chance to write down the other ones that were part of the booster pack. But we'll figure it out. Let's see. Nope, that one works. I'm trying my darndest to break this, and it's not working. New year, new PFP. Welcome. Welcome to the new PFP. Hello, Breckhack. Welcome back. Well, if I can't reproduce this, then that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem if I can't reproduce this. No matter what I do, it won't break. All right, let's see. Let's get rid of the skeleton dragon. Giant finger, cultist. Maybe we'll do axe. Give it a couple more tries, and if I can't do it, I'll just leave it as like this ghost bug that could potentially brick a run. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how to do it. Well, one thing I could do is if I do... So I can't get this to work, so we're just going to get rid of that. If I do my cardboard utils, resize board and place cards. I was thinking I could add like a safety check in here. So maybe here's what I'll do. I'll do, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try this. So var, let's do this. If not, we placed the card at the position. If we didn't place the card at the position successfully, then what we're gonna do is we are going to print the card list. So let's do gd.push error failed to place card as the result of a board resize. Card list, and we're going to do string.join card list c.card definition resource .id is fine. And then we're also just going to go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and take this card that we were trying to place. And we're going to do card.queueFree. This queueFree is not actually a Godot queueFree. This is just a queueFree that I wrote that will free the card node. And also board.add card node. So I would need to remove add to tree parent node. Okay, so that's just adding the node. So the tricky thing about the card system is that the cards have a data representation, which is the base card class, as well as the card definition resource. But they also need to have a set of visuals associated with them, right? Like they actually need to be in the scene tree to display their visuals. So those two pieces of data are actually separate. The cards that you see on the board are just like little visual indicators of the cards that you have. They're not like the base card script is not on the card node. So the script that drives all the logic is managed separately from the script that drives all the visuals. And so there's a little bit of coordination that I need to do because of that. One of which is I need to make sure to clean up any card nodes that are no longer in use. And I can only do that when I know that I'm done with using like a card instance. So that's a little bit tricky, but for the most part, it's actually pretty straightforward because the logic basically works out that if there is a base card script in play, that means that it's on a board somewhere. And that also must mean that the card node has to be in the tree somewhere. So if a card resource is ever removed from a board, then that also means that the card node needs to be removed or moved. One of those two things. Anyway, that's a minor tangent, but so what I'm going to do in this case is if the card fails to be placed for whatever reason, then I'm just going to go ahead and remove that card and then print this error. And that will print a list of the cards that failed so that I can go in and manually recreate it so I can test the algorithm. The other thing I might do is, this is kind of like a tricky, this cardboard utils here, this resize cards and place board, or resize board and place cards. This takes an IEnumerable of base card, and what it basically does is it tries to create a board size that can fit all of the cards. So there's obviously a problem in my little algorithm that I wrote here. So one option for me here is, instead of trying to fiddle with it and handle whatever edge cases, I could just ask the AI to do it, to identify where the problem is and fix it. But I will do that later. The other thing, I do want to change this too, because right now this is not placing cards as efficiently as possible. It's basically just extending the board height and width to support just placing cards along horizontally and placing cards along vertically, but with no overlap or no packing of the cards really. So one thing I could do is I could potentially make this more organic feeling by trying to pack the cards in as tightly as possible so that there's no empty spaces on the board that gets resized here. But that would be a whole different problem as well. I think what I'd probably have to do in that case is I would have to take a sort of dynamic approach where I'd start with a certain board size. I'd try to place a card at the next available position. If the card can't be placed, then I'd have to like determine how I need to grow the board in order to make the card placeable. Anyway, that's a whole bucket of nonsense that I don't need to deal with right now. I'm just going to call this fixed for now. I'm logging it, so when it appears again, which I'm sure it will, then I can handle that. Okay, so add logging for booster board size bug. So that one's not really fixed. So I'll just put this back. There's another bug here that I want to work on, which is the phylactery, this poison applied growth here. It's not having its value reset. So let me try this. Project settings. I'll show you the bug here. Test player cards. Let's just do frog, not fro, frog, and phylactery. And we'll see what this does. There was also a weird bug yesterday. I don't know if I didn't log this one. Upgrading an alchemized card doesn't work sometimes. My friend upgraded a card and it didn't upgrade. So that was weird. It's a feature, yeah. On a side note, I've been lurking for a long time, and this is my first time catching one of your streams. I just wanted to say thank you for your courses, and I really enjoy your teaching style. Well, thank you, Deca Lift. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. And welcome to the, well, you've been lurking for a long time, but welcome to the chat. Always good to have people participating in the chat. Happy New Year to you as well, Fat Kid Games. Welcome, welcome. Typo has returned and curled up in his usual place below the monitor, though he did smack the screen before settling down. Not a happy cat. Okay. I'll be wary of showing my cat to Typo. But that's good. I'm glad he's back. Hello, Wooius. Welcome. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you, Ryer. I don't know. Can I just call you Rye? I don't know how to pronounce the OIO part. Doing some bug fixes today. Yeah, some bug fixes. I'm gonna work on a card overflow system as well, which shouldn't take that long. I really don't think the card overflow system is gonna be that hard. I think the majority of the effort is gonna be probably the setup of the scenes to handle that. But Yummers, thank you for the IDR 20,000 Snub Bill. Thank you, with the message, happy Woo Year to y'all. Thank you, Snub Bill. I very much appreciate that. Happy New Year to you as well. Yummers, yummers, yummers. Friendly neighborhood reminder to like the stream. Yes, please do. That would help a lot. Hello, John Nova. Welcome to the stream. Happy New Year to you as well. Rye works great. Okay, good. Gotcha. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and... So this phylactery... Oh, they have blind on themselves. Let me see what this does. I'm just going to grab this booster on the off chance that this breaks. Okay, anyway. I need to go into a combat. Increase sell price by 10. Put that on there. Get 12 monies out of that. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So if I do this, apply 1 poison. Really? So this still says apply 4 poison. And I'm wondering if that is actually going to carry over. It did not carry over, okay. So that description ends up being out of date. So the description is just out of date. And so dynamic poison ability, dynamic magnitude ability, value scalar poison ability. This is an ability type tracker provider. So you've got the poison tracker, dynamic poison ability. Do I have this? I'm not using this in multiple places. So I may go ahead and just clean this up real quick. So var composed is equal to new composed ability. I'm gonna have to figure out how to reset the value. I thought this was a problem that I solved. I feel like I'm playing whack-a-mole with some of these issues, but that's okay. So abilities, we've got poison tracker, dynamic poison ability. We're gonna grab this. This there. So ideally what I'd want this to do is reset. Poison tracker, transient execution state. Reset transient state post execution, track entire history. So that's the description, scaling func. Value scalar, set multiplier scalar. Oops. So grab this, grab that. Var scalar is equal to that. Value scalar set multiplier 1. I guess that works. Oh, this needs to be description func equals this. Okay. So I've just like reconfigured, refactored that ability into my new composed ability system. I think the problem is this ability type tracker provider. This ability type tracker provider is giving me a whole bunch of headaches. I might need to rethink this. But I think what I could do, let me just check if this will work. So we've got the poison tracker here. Dynamic magnitude ability. When it executes, it sets the magnitude. I see. So I wonder if this would be a problem too with like the scarab. Let me just check something real quick. I want those descriptions to reset after combat. Yet, so if I do get magnitude, value provider get value. This is a value scaler, get value for source value, source provider. So this ends up being the source provider. Okay, so I should be able to fix this. I just need to reset this total executions here. I just need to reset that to 0 when the combat ends. So I thought I had like an I transient state. How is this used? Let me see. Find all implementations. Execution count provider. When is this reset state called? Reset all ability states. This is called in reset all state, and this is called in on combat ended. Okay, so basically I just need to do this then. Honey, what are you doing, dog? Good boy. Good boy. Poison tracker, ability type tracker provider. So I just want to make sure that if I reset this state, that this is going to be all right. Apply poison for each time heals applied since last execution. For each time an ally card applied bleed since last execution. For each time an allied card applied fire. So yeah, I think this is... Yeah, this is okay. So I think I just need to make a minor change here. This has a transient execution state. I'm also going to do I transient state. And then we're going to implement that interface. Reset state in here. We're just going to put total executions equals 0 here. I'm fairly certain that that's going to fix it. But don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to that. It's kind of amazing. Like I'll be playing this game and doing my own playthrough, and it's like, oh, this game is feeling pretty good. And then I go watch my friend play, and it's like every bug that I've never seen pops up. And so now I've got to fix those things. So this is applying 2 poison, 4 poison. Okay, it's back to 0. Cool. So that worked. And I'm just going to make sure in the combat log here, phylactery applied 4 poison. Yep. Blinded self by 20%. Cool. And I want to also just check that the scarab is working properly. So let's go ahead and do that. 3 damage, 4 damage, 5 damage, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, I'm not winning at all. Oh, but I did win. So let me just make sure that reset. It did. Okay, cool. All right, so I think I've fixed that issue. So that's done. Oh, I also want to remove this poison applied growth. Wait a minute. Yeah. Let me just put composed here. Remove the poison applied growth. Delete. I've been gradually moving away from the old ability system that I had in favor of this composed system, but now I have to test this again. Would you rather have Applebee's or apples and bees? Oh, probably Applebee's. Probably Applebee's. Apples and bees sound like a lot of work. Your friend is a certified QA, yeah. Hello, Code Red. Welcome back. Good to see you. Always good to see you. This channel is the reason I use Obsidian. Awesome. I like to think that I'm converting a lot of people to using Godot and Obsidian, apparently. Cool. Okay, so this is working. We can call that good. Fix stale ability descriptions post combat. All right, let's actually work on the fun thing now. Upgrading an alchemized card doesn't work sometimes. I don't know. Should I try this real quick? Maybe I'll try this real quick. Sorry. No fun things just yet. I forgot, my friend put like a couple of things in here. Been rocking Obsidian for a few years. It absolutely rules. Yeah, I like Obsidian. I think I like how extensible it is. I mean, the main thing that I like is just you have custody of your own data. That's the main reason why I use it. I got obsessed within recent years about, oh yeah, look at that. The tier is empty. Oh, shoot. Insert swear word here. But yeah, I like self-custody of my data. As I started like making more videos and as I started making more serious game projects, I started to get nervous about having all of my data in the custody of like companies, which could either ban me for whatever reason or could go out of business. So I started making sure that I at least have, even if I'm backing stuff up on like third-party cloud providers, I still have like actual copies of my data on physical media, like hard drives. Anyway, that's why Obsidian is really nice, because then all my notes are just in readable markdown files. So, yeah. Obsidian is a certified banger, helped me through university. Awesome. I've been trying to migrate on a lot more from the cloud over to something closer to me. Yeah, and I still have I still use cloud service providers. Mostly I use Backblaze to just do like nightly off-site backups of my network attached storage, my NAS. So I've got a copy of everything like in just the next room over here, but also that gets backed up nightly to Backblaze so that, if my house burns down or whatever, I've got a copy of my data somewhere that's retrievable. Error class swear word not defined, yeah. So this is a bad thing. So when I do alchemy, the tier of the card is going away. How in the world is that happening? That doesn't make any sense. Min output tier, if non-reagent import cards .count. Oh, min and max output tier. Non-reagent. Is this breaking? This has to be non-reagent, non-transmuted cards. I think there's something breaking here. So the reason why the card upgrade didn't work is apparently because it didn't have a tier. So if I do this, and that, and that. Okay, and then oh shoot. Okay. This is going to be a little bit annoying. Dang it. Okay, well, I can just put this breakpoint here instead. All right, we can look at the min and max output tier. 0 and 0. Why is that happening? So that would explain the problem. Non-reagent, non-transmuted cards. Can I just print this in my debug? Count equals 1. This is... yeah, Skeleton Warrior. Min output tier, max output tier. Non-reagent transmuted cards. Why is it 0? Oh. Wait a minute. Why is this 0? Card tier. Is the card tier... yeah, the card tier is not 0 based. Oh. Oops. This has to be greater than 0. Also, for safety purposes, I'm just going to set these to 1 by default. Just in case they ever fail to get set again, it at least won't remove the tier. Okay. That should fix it. That was quite a nasty bug. I don't know how I didn't notice that before. So let's fix that. I'm glad I investigated that. So if I do this now, I do this. There we go. Got a tier 1 Skeleton Warrior. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the alchemy system still... so one thing that I noticed when my friend was playing yesterday is that he didn't really engage with the alchemy system. And he was able to get through the first boss without doing any alchemy whatsoever by just growing the board and getting a bunch of cards and stuff, which is fine. Like, I think that should be allowed, but I definitely think there's not enough... it's one of two problems. There's not enough pressure for the player to use alchemy, or it could be one of three things. There's not enough pressure for the player to use alchemy, there's not enough incentive for the player to use alchemy, or the alchemy system just isn't powerful enough. And it could be a mix of any one of those, or any three of those problems. So that is something that I need to be thinking about. One thing that I'm considering doing is just... so right now the alchemy system has the potential to... so if you take a card with 2 abilities and you put it into the alchemy system, it has the potential to lose 1 ability or gain 1 ability. And then the abilities are randomized. So, Azir, come on. Azir. So basically, if you had a card with 2 abilities, it could get a 3rd ability added to it, but then all of the 3 abilities would be randomized based on the inputs. And if it had 2 abilities and it removed an ability, then it could have, it would just have 1 ability randomized. I don't know if removing an ability feels that good. I might just make it always add an ability. That might actually be a little bit nicer. But I'm going to have to think about that some more. Yeah, I'm going to have to think about that some more. Anyway. Lots of stuff to think about, I suppose. Lots of stuff to think about. Anyway, I think that fixes that bug. And maybe just for completeness sake... Oh, I can't. I was going to say maybe I could... Okay, there's a card upgrade. So just for completeness in testing this, I'm going to throw this all together. I get an output that has those abilities, and then I'm going to make sure that I can upgrade this. So I think what happened when my friend was playing is that he used the alchemy system. It generated a tier 0 card instead of a tier 1 card. And then when he upgraded it, it went back to tier 1, which is why it never showed the little upgrade indicator here. So now that I've fixed that, I think that's probably okay. All right. Fix alchemy setting tier 2 0. All right. So we fixed that. Anyway, let's do the fun thing now. So fixed a couple of bugs already. That's good. I think it should be possible, but not easy to do. Speedrun, no alchemy challenge. Yeah, I think it should be possible as well. Like if you get perfect cards that work together and you build like a perfect synergy and you don't need to use the alchemy system, then that's good. But I want the majority of runs to require the use of the alchemy system to beat. Because that's like the main hook of the game. So I need to make that like a central focus. To the extent it's not a central focus, that's a problem. Okay, so let's see. So the card overflow system that I want to do here, just to recap, is there are certain things in the game that will reward you with cards automatically. Like the spider egg artifact will grant you a spiderling card. And the map node effect, this is the eyeball eye map, what is it called? Map node effect. What is it called? What am I, where is it? Automatic card reward map node effect. It's this one. So this does the same thing, where you could get the eyeball card from an Inquisition blessing at location. So those are the two places where we need to do the card overflow system. And basically the overflow system is just going to be a new board that pops up, slides in or whatever, and then gives you those cards that you earned from whatever it is, and then gives you an opportunity to put those in your inventory automatically. I think that's just going to be a better way to present it. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a card overflow system, the actual logic for it, and then I need to create a scene that can handle all that. Hello, Felsefe. Good morning to you as well. Happy New Year. I don't know how placing the alchemy system back as a map node may make it more visible. Yeah, I do like that the alchemy is always available. I do like that, so I don't think I'm going to go back to a map node for alchemy, but kind of the point of the reagent event where I added all of the alchemical reagents, that's kind of trying to serve that purpose, like trying to remind the player like, hey, you have these things to use for alchemy. Like the reagents are only useful for alchemy, right? So the point of putting that reagent event on the map was, yeah, to give the player more control over the alchemy system, but also to kind of like continually remind them like, hey, you have this alchemy system that you can use. So when you see a reagent node in the map, that's only useful in alchemy, right? Winning a run without alchemy could be an achievement. I just had this random idea. What if instead of buying new cells on the board, you could give the player board pieces through alchemy? Yeah, that could be interesting. So are you thinking that would be like a different currency? So like you do the alchemy, it rewards you with a board piece currency, and then you can use that to unlock your board. I kind of like that. So the only way to increase your board size is to engage with the alchemy system. Interesting. Interesting. That is very interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that. Yeah, or even actually pieces like a puzzle. Yeah, the thing, like the puzzle piece idea is interesting, but then I'd have to, I'd have to build all of that system to like drag and drop cells onto the board to grow it and everything. Which I could see that being fun, but I also don't want to overcomplicate it too much. Anyway, let's do this card overflow. So I'm going to create a new manager in here. New scene. Do I need this to be a scene? I probably don't. Card loot table manager. Yeah, I don't think I need this. I'll just make it a global class here. So we'll do manager, new file, card overflow manager. Card overflow manager. Let's just go ahead and copy this, I suppose. Okay. Card overflow manager. Instance equals this. Okay. Don't need this, don't need that. Don't need this, don't need that. Okay, so public static void add card to overflow base card. Okay, private list base card overflow cards. Okay, we can make this a read-only list. Okay, we're gonna push an error if instance instantiated in the scene tree. That's fine. Instance of overflow cards that add base card. Cool. So now we're keeping a running list of these overflow cards. So let's go ahead and change the spider egg. Instead of placing the card at the player board position, we're going to let the player do that. So I actually don't need to do any of this. I can just do this. Card overflow manager dot add card to overflow spiderling, and all of this disappears. And then I can do the same for the automatic card reward map effect. All this goes away. Card overflow manager add card to overflow reward card. Okay. So there's our overflow card, or overflow functionality, basically. So now we actually need to probably introduce a new step in the run manager. So let's just go to the run manager script, I suppose. So here, we're going to get this working very simply to start. So I think I need a new state here. So let's do state machine.add state overflow cards. I'm going to look for the finish signal here, state event. On event state machine finished. So we've got state event, state combat. State combat victory. State combat victory. So this goes to the map state. So wherever I'm changing to the map state here, on event state machine finished. I'm going to do something here. Chain, private void, change to state to map or overflow. Maybe card overflow. Okay. Public static bool has overflow cards. Is instance valid instance and instance at overflow cards that count as greater than 0. Okay. If card overflow manager.has overflow cards, we're going to change to state overflow cards, otherwise change to the map state. Okay, let's create that state overflow cards now. Private void state overflow cards. We're going to need to figure that out, but that's fine. We'll work on that in a second. This becomes change state to map or card overflow. And then we're also going to do it here. Change state to map or card overflow. That one doesn't need to change. Okay, I think we're okay. Okay, so now with the overflow state, we do need to create an overflow state machine. So let's go and do that. State machine. What do I call this? Card overflow state machine. This needs to be renamed .cs. Just copy this. Card overflow. Ah, shoot. Don't save. I just want to get my naming consistent here. Uh-oh. Am I still alive? Everyone can still hear me? OBS said that it disconnected something. Board currency earned during alchemy. Yeah, I think that would work really well. Maybe make a limited time to offer if you alchemize in this node better rewards. Yeah, maybe. The resource for increasing the board size could be called alchemical residue or something like that. Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe this is too much to implement, but what about using alchemy to create potions, which you can drop on a card on the board and will enhance the card for X encounters, even just attack rounds? Yeah, alchemizing a temporary buff is an interesting idea for sure. And Happy New Year to you as well, Bolter. Welcome back to the stream. Happy mother flipping fuchsia New Year, MFers. Okay, let's go. Hello, Sanzo, welcome back. Did I blip for a second? Did I actually disconnect? That sucks. Anyway, I'm glad we're back. So in here, basically what I want to do is, do I want to, this is basically just a data container, so I don't think I need to do anything super fancy. I'm just going to say get overflow cards here. We'll return that. Otherwise, we return instance.overflow cards. Okay. So in the state overflow cards, well, we're not done with this yet. In this state init, we're going to take the var board manager is equal to context dot, or I guess I could just do player board. Do I have the inventory? I don't. So maybe I'll just do this. Context helper dot board manager get player inventory board. So var board inventory. If board inventory is not equal to null, var overflow cards is equal to card overflow manager get overflow cards. Board inventory, try place card next available position. And we'll just do this. If not, card.queueFree. And then we can do card overflow manager public static void clear overflow cards. So in here, card overflow manager clear overflow cards, change into the cleanup state, and we're done. So now in here, we're going to do var card overflow state machine is equal to new card overflow event state machine. Create event state machine context on event state machine finished. Add child card overflow state machine. State overflow cards. Okay, so now let's try that. Project settings, I'm just going to do this. We're going to do add element God mode and then test player artifacts, spider egg. Let's do it. I thought it was my internet. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm back. Okay, so we've got the spider egg, adds a spiderling minion to your inventory. So basically what I should see is not much of a difference functionally from what the experience is like currently. But the whole point of doing all that was to set up all of the plumbing, so to speak, for the way to reward those cards. And then we're going to do the UI after that. It did not work. Well, that was supposed to be rather simple, but it didn't work. Well, let's put a breakpoint here. Let's put a breakpoint here. I'm pretty sure that works, but put a breakpoint there. And then in the card overflow stated machine, let's put a breakpoint here. Let's do attach to process. Okay. So this is going to add the card to the card overflow. So can I do view debug console card overflow manager dot get overflow cards? Count equals 0. Oh, I know why. I know why. I didn't check my errors. Card overflow manager is not valid. I forgot to add it here. See, even a Godot developer with tons of experience forgets to add nodes to the tree. Okay, now it should work. Now it should work. So I put this on here. There we go. So you see how I added a spiderling right there? So the plan is add the spiderling, but to another board that slides in. So after we do this combat, for instance, the combat board would go away, then a new board would slide in with your overflow cards that you could then take and put in your inventory wherever you want. And then the game would advance after that. So we're just kind of inserting an extra conditional step in here. So yeah. So that's good. All the plumbing is done. So all the plumbing is done. So now we just need to do the actual scene for that. How do I want to do this? So I think in my game UI here, I have a way of creating these containers. Shop container, enchant container, resurrection container, health option container, booster card, card upgrade. So if I look at my booster container, well, maybe that's not exactly what I want. Reagent container here. So I think what I'm gonna want to do, let me just check something really quick. State combat victory. Enemy board dot kill. Yeah, so that works. Is there like a create enemy board in here? Create enemy board. Resource preloader, instant scene or null board. Okay. Well, I don't know how any of this works, but that's all right. Get state machine for event. That's fine. So I think the thing to do here is just to... we've got these reagent containers showing file system. Yeah, so I think what I'll do is I've got this UI directory here. We'll create a new folder for overflow. And then we'll basically just create that container. Now the tricky thing is, what is the tricky thing? What is the tricky thing? Anyway, I think this should be relatively straightforward. I just got to be careful about how I do it. Should be straightforward, just got to be careful. That's right, we're going to cheat wave, yeah. Hello, Nick. Welcome back. Good to see you again. This is a great way to start 2026. Yes, indeed. Happy New Year to you. I'm just kind of a little bit... I'm not stuck. It's just I have not done one of these containers in a while, so I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. But maybe we just go YOLO mode. Let's do a new user interface node. We're going to do overflow container.tscn. Okay, we've got the overflow container here. I think I need to add a board container, if I'm not mistaken. A board container. So custom minimum size 54. Instantiate a child scene board. Okay. Disable card drop, yes. Is combat board can receive necrosis, hide decorations. I think I just disabled the card drop there. I don't know. Anyway. Oh. Let me look at something here. Layout. Do I have layout settings set here? Let's see. Yeah, shrink center and shrink center. Okay. So I think what I want to do here is maybe like 18 times 6. 18 times 6. I think that's right. 18 times 3 is 54. 18 times 6 is 108. Okay, that's fine. Layout, container sizing, horizontal, shrink center, and then we can reset the size here. This board container now. Oh, does this not work? I might need to change this type here to be like a margin container or something. Shrink center. Got the overflow anchors up there. Okay, I think that should work. Obviously, I'm going to want to do some art for this as well, but Happy New Year, thank you. New year, new work. Well, it's not new work, but it was a new working session, I suppose. Sorry, the cats are cold. 1 second. All right, cats warmed up. Alrighty. So I think that's basically it. We gotta add a script to this. Oh, I gotta create a new folder for that. Scripts UI, create a new folder. Overflow. Okay. Scripts UI, overflow container, inherits margin container, that's fine. Create. Game.ui. I think that's basically correct. And then in my card overflow state machine, I actually need to do this. Public overflow container, create card overflow container, resource preloader, instance scene or null, overflow container, right half container, add child overflow container. Okay. So then I go to my game UI here. And in my resource preloader, I put the overflow container in there. Okay. And then in my card event state machine here, I do var overflow container is equal to context game UI.create overflow container. And we'll have to hook into a bunch of signals here. But basically what I'll do now is I've got this overflow container. We can get a reference to the board here, private board. Okay, whatever. Okay, so we got a board in here. So now what I should be able to do is I should be able to do something like public void set overflow cards. I guess I could just do set cards. It's fine. List base card cards. I think for now we'll just store that. List base card cards. This dot cards is equal to cards. Okay. And then we're going to want a public async void play in. We'll have to figure out how to do that. But when we call play in, what we're going to want to do is do this. Card board utils dot resize board and place cards board cards. So we'll do this. Board dot visible is equal to false. These are just going to be placeholders. I guess I don't really need to do this. That's fine. We're going to want to do a whole animation for it, but this overflow container now, we're going to do overflow container dot set cards, card overflow manager get overflow cards. And then we're going to want to listen for all of those cards being transferred over to the player board. So really this isn't necessary anymore. So we'll get rid of those. Card overflow manager. We don't want to clear the overflow cards yet. That's going to go into state cleanup. And so yeah, basically what we're going to want to do is not change into that state cleanup there. I'm going to call overflow container.play in. And then we need a signal for when all the cards have been transferred. So let's just do that. Stub that out really quick. Signal public delegate void cards transferred event handler. Okay. And so we're going to need to hook into that as well. Now, does this board need to be registered? I think it probably does. Public override void ready. This dot get board manager dot register board. Oh, I need to do a new board registration, I guess. Who the heck built this thing? Board is quick move target, quick move priority. So board is equal to board is quick move target equals false. Unfortunately, I have to also put the priority even though it's not required. Board type is equal to board type.event. Quick move target board type. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so we register the board there. And then I think what we need is I think we've got some signals. Let me look at how the booster card selection container works. Card mouse events manager connect card transferred. So on card transferred, what am I doing here? If from inventory is not equal to board inventory component return. If not has cards emit signal cards taken. Okay. So I basically do want to just copy these and put them over here. Get rid of that. Put this in here. Okay, on card transferred. Okay, emit signal cards transferred. I guess I'll make this consistent. Cards taken, event handler. Okay, emit signal cards taken. And now what I can do is in my card overflow event state machine here, we are going to do overflow container dot cards taken plus equals on cards taken. Private void on cards taken. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to do, we do need to do a play out animation. But for now, we're just going to change into the state cleanup. It's going to clear the overflow cards, finish the event up, and then be done. I also need to probably, yeah, I need to store a reference to this overflow container. Overflow container. We're going to assign that there, and then I can do overflow container.queueFree. So this is where I'm going to need to actually do the play out here. So that's fine. But what I'm really interested in is seeing if this even works. So for my spider egg, I'm going to go ahead and do this. For var I equals 0, I is less than 8, I plus plus. We're just going to give the player 8 spiderlings and see what that does. Firebelly's new game confirmed, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and run up to this combat here. Go to this combat. Good morning, Mark. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, so we do this. And we've got the board overflow here. And it did not add any cards to the board. Value cannot be null. Overflow container. Oh, the board. I forgot to do this. This needs to be access as unique name. Let's try it again. That did not work. That did not work. Failed to place card as a result of board restarts card list. Okay, so now I'm hitting that bug. Interesting. So now I'm getting destroyed by this bug here. Cardboard utils. Oh, resize board and place card. Max X dimension. So there's an error in here somewhere that I'm going to need to address, but let's focus on the animations and stuff first, I suppose. Set board dimensions. Let me look at my board container really quick. Animate board update. On grid changed. If animate board resize, that's an export. Okay. And board update, update board. Okay. Set to board dimensions. Update board. Interesting. Okay, I think we're all right. I think we're all right. I was just checking see if this animation stuff was going to work. Okay. Phew. I've heard that it's necessary to avoid too many if checks because they slow down the computer too much. What do you think about that? I think that's probably not true. The way that modern CPUs are, it's like you have to do a lot to get them to slow down. And your script having 500 if checks is not going to make any noticeable difference in the performance of your game or whatever. You know, that's one of those things, like in computing, what you have to realize is that when people are talking about, well, this is more efficient than another thing, what they're often talking about is they're talking on the scale of like nanoseconds, right? So they'll be like, oh, well, this is 3 times slower than using this thing. And then you look at the numbers and it's like, oh, well, this takes like 100 nanoseconds and this one takes 300 nanoseconds. And it's like, the difference is completely imperceptible to the end user. So you have to be aware of that when people are talking about like efficiency. A lot of times they're talking about numbers that are so small that it's like, it doesn't make a difference. It would only make a difference at scale. If you're doing like millions or billions of operation, then yeah, saving 200 nanoseconds per operation would definitely make a difference at that scale. But at the scale of a game, it's like, it's literally not even worth thinking about. It's like, it's kind of like stopping to pick up a penny off the ground. It's like you lost more money spending the time to pick up the penny than if you just ignore it. It's kind of like the same deal. It's like, it's not even worth thinking about, honestly. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we're going to get this all animating very well. So this overflow container, we're going to need to do the board animation in, so I'm going to have to figure out where that exists, because I animate the enemy board in, so we're going to do that. In assembly, we try to avoid branches if possible due to CPU predictive branching, but I don't think we're that fussed most of the time. Yeah, obviously there are situations where you need to consider the performance, right? I just think that even for like a typical software engineer, performance concerns are basically like, it's not a concern until it's a concern, right? Like you don't think about performance until you actually have a problem related to performance. You just write the thing and get the thing to work. And in, 95% of cases, 98% of cases, it's going to be perfectly fine. And in the other minuscule number of cases, you may have to do something to improve the performance, but your performance bottlenecks are not going to come from like many if checks, right? Your performance bottlenecks are going to be reading and writing from the disk or doing something that's actually very computationally expensive, so on and so forth. Premature optimization is just It's just time you could spend developing the game mechanics. Yeah. Language runtime makes a big difference too in terms of cost of a conditional check. Also, how you work with an access memory makes a much bigger difference. Yeah, and a lot of, like, with C#, right, it's like a lot of that stuff is just abstracted for you. Like, it's already opinionated in the sense that it knows how to manage the memory and it knows how to do the compile time optimizations and everything. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will go ahead and do some animations for this. Okay, BRB. Okay, I'm back. Welcome back to me. Very well said, though, with those when those problems pop up, I definitely curse those who didn't think ahead about performance before I got there. Yeah, true. Half the time, those conditional checks will get lowered into something better anyway by languages with a decent compiler, plus optimization suite, C# being one of those. Yeah. Anyway, so we got to do some animations here. I actually don't know how to do it, so... Create enemy board, play slide in animation. Oh, is it really just that easy? Do I just call the play slide in animation? Don't tell me it's that easy. Board dot do resize board and place cards. Board dot play slide in animation. Is it that easy, really? This is an asynchronous thing, but I don't need to do that. On cards transferred. emit signal cards taken. So if I do public void play out, board dot kill. I guess I do want to await this one. Okay. So now if I go to my card overflow event state machine, async void state cleanup, await overflow container dot play out. Oh, this needs to return a task. Cannot await void. I changed it though. Okay. Clear overflow cards. Overflow container. Do I need to do that? I think so. Yeah, I do. So we free the overflow container, we emit signal finish, and we queue free the state machine. I actually think that might work. Let's see what happens. So I go here, skip this, go here. Let's get us some spiderlings here. Hey, look at that. So now I should be able to drag this over. I can't place this back. Can't drop things on there. I can quick move, and then when I finish, we keep going. All right, so the card overflow container is now working. It just slides in. So I will add some art for this, like to decorate the board and indicate that this is your card overflow here, but that is working now. So that is going to be the way that the player acquires cards that are automatically granted to them. I think that's going to be better because automatically placing it on the board has a couple of problems. One problem is you may not notice that you're acquiring the cards, and I want it to be like, I want it to be in the player's face that, oh, I'm getting this reward because of this thing, right? So when an extra board pops up and says, here are your cards, sir, the player will be like, oh, right, I have the spider egg, so that's why I'm getting these, you know? And the other problem that it fixes too is that if your board doesn't have a room for the card that's being automatically granted for you, you don't lose the card. So now instead of it just being automatic and potentially losing the card, it's a very intentional thing where you get these cards and you can decide what to do with them here. So if I want to get rid of the spiderling, I can do that. I can put it on my board and we're good. So I think that fixes several problems with automatically granting it. Hello, Kazori, welcome. So I do need to do some art for that and indicate that this is something that you're getting. All right, so that's looking good actually. I do have this board issue here, which I think I might spend some time trying to fix. I do need to think of some art for that. So add card overflow system. I need some art. Potentially do an announcement indicating card rewards. So we'll do that. I do want to fix this bug. So let's see if we can get that done. But first, add card overflow system. Oh, I don't want the spider egg. Well, I guess I do need to leave this in place so I can actually test this. So we'll try that. Hello, I want to learn using Godot. How can I start? Can you help me about this? I need some resources to learn it. Well, I'm assuming... Well, there's two answers. If you have programming experience already and you're comfortable with programming, you could check out my courses. I have 4 Godot courses. They're linked in the description below. You could check those out if you're interested. They're on Udemy or on Patreon. And what else? So if you're a beginner to programming, I would recommend starting with some more beginner Godot tutorials. I think GD Quest has a very good beginner tutorial series. GD Quest. Heartbeast has a lot of great tutorials on YouTube as well, which cover how to build complete-ish games. I don't know what level he teaches at. I don't know if his courses or his tutorials are geared toward beginners or not. But definitely check out Heartbeast, check out GD Quest, read the Godot documentation, and yeah, that would be my recommendation. I mean, there's all kinds of great resources. I'm not a beginner, but I want to learn Godot and C# and Godot C#. Well, I do have a C# course. So what I would recommend to you if you're interested in my courses, I put a lot of the videos for each course as free previews. So you can go through and watch those free preview videos first on Udemy and see if the level at which I'm instructing during those courses is appropriate for you. And yeah, I'd recommend you do that. And if it's not right, then yeah, check out the other people that I mentioned. Practice is everything, yeah. Like eventually you do want to get away from the tutorials, and the way to do that is just to do like trial by fire, where you just go in with minimal resources, minimal help, and you try to do as much as you can by yourself from just reading the documentation and using what you've learned from previous tutorials. That's the way I've always learned best. I always just do trial by fire, just throw myself into the deep end and then try to figure things out. But everyone learns differently, so. But practice is very important for sure. Okay, so add card overflow system. All right, so let's try to fix this bug now. Thanks for the help, good stream. You're welcome. You are welcome. Happy New Year to you. Cardboard utils. All right, so I've obviously got a bug in here. So we're trying to create 8 spiderlings. Let's take a look at this. Let's just see if we can follow this logic and see what happens. So we've got the card list .count. Resize board and place cards. So I'm going to be iterating 8 times. Current dimension is equal to plus, if current x dimension, which is 0, plus card list I dimensions x is going to be 1, is greater than max x dimension. So that's not going to be satisfied. Else rows y dimension, current row index is equal to mathf.max, current row index, card list dimensions.y. Current x dimension plus equals dimensions.x, max x dimension, mathf.min, current x, okay. So then when we get up to this point, let's say our current x dimension is 6. We add an additional spider. Well, the problem is, I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I want to see if this is... Nope, cancel that, please. I want to see if this dimension is generating 4 or if it's actually trying to generate a 6x dimension. And then it's maybe getting overwritten by something else in the code. I just want to make sure. Goodbye. Happy New Year, all guys. Happy New Year indeed. All right, let's try this. Okay, we don't need this breakpoint anymore. Max X dimension is 2. Yeah, so that's definitely not working. I guess I should have put a breakpoint earlier. Oh well, we'll keep going. I'm gonna go find another combat encounter. Oh, I don't really care about that one. Grab all those. Okay, here. Okay, so card list, we have 8 cards. I guess we'll just step through this. So current X dimension is 0. Rows Y dimensions, current row index. So that's 1. Current X dimension plus equals, okay. Max X dimension is 1. Okay, let's do it again. Max X dimension is 2. Current X dimension is 3. Max X dimension is 3. Okay. So it looks like this is working. 5. Max X dimension 6. So then it goes here. And it does current row index plus plus. Rows Y dimensions dot add card list I dimensions dot Y. Okay, current X dimension is equal to card list dimensions. Oh, I guess is my logic wrong here? Is that what's happening? Because then it's setting this max X dimension back to 2. This has to be... Did I just do this wrong? mathf.max. I think this is wrong. I think this needs to be mathf.max. Max X dimension, current X dimension. So basically what I want is I'm keeping a running total of the X dimension of the board up to 6. Because the thing is, like, I could have, if I drop 3 cards and one card is 1 cell wide and another card is 4 cells wide and the third card is 3 cells wide, I don't want the board to ever exceed being 6 cells wide. So that means that third card needs to be placed on the next available row. But that also means that the board is not quite, it's not quite 6 cells wide. It's 5 cells wide, right? Or 4 cells wide, whatever it is. So I'm just trying to keep track of the maximum X dimension based on if you're stacking cards side by side. So I think I just did that logic wrong, to be honest. Let me see if this works. So we just want to keep track of the absolute max X dimension that is required based on which cards are being placed on the board. That might honestly fix the bug that my friend encountered yesterday when he was playing. Hard to know for sure. How do you debug in VS Code? Like, is there any extension or anything? Yeah, I think, oh, there we go. It worked, see? I think, there's like a Godot tools extension for VS Code, which gives you like a command that you can use to set up your debugging automatically. It is a little bit tricky. It can be a little bit finicky. I've definitely set up, you know, Godot debugging on a fresh instance of VS Code before and like had difficulties with it for whatever reason. And I don't remember exactly what the solutions are every time, but it can be done. I just don't know exactly how to do it, so I'm sorry. I can look at my extensions, let's see. Godot.net tools, yeah. Yeah, so I think if you install this Godot.net tools, and then you run the command to generate files for Godot project, I think that will set up... Yeah, it sets up your launch and tasks.json files, and that's actually how the debug configurations are defined here. So go to launch, like these are my debug launch options here, and then tasks, build. So yeah, I would recommend using that, and that should just get it set up for you, no problem. Okay, so we fixed that, I think. Fix, resize board logic. And then I probably want to remove. I just want to see it work again. I like to see things work, you know? There we go. Got all my spiderlings, so a max width of 6. Now, like I said earlier, I do want to do... Let's see if I can find a different algorithm for packing these in a little bit nicer, because I think this would look nicer if it was like more square instead of more long. And also, if you've got cards of different sizes, you know, being able to pack them in very nicely would definitely be good. Would feel more organic, but that should be good for now. What happens when it changes back to just giving one spiderling? That is a good question. Actually, thank you for bringing that up, because I probably want to do some kind of minimum board size, because otherwise it's going to be a 1x1 board, and that's going to be a little bit weird. So yeah, if I go back to one spiderling, we should first see if it works. But I probably do want to do at least a minimum size for the board, so that it doesn't look weird being a 1x1 board. Okay, so it generated a 1x1 board, which is fine. But yeah, let's do a minimum size here. Cardboard utils. Let's do a vector 2i nullable minimum dimensions. Okay. Okay, so var final dimension is equal to new vector 2i. We're going to do mathf.max. Or no. Yeah, mathf.max of max x dimension, minimum dimensions.x, null coalesced to 0, and mathf.max rows y dimension.sum, and minimum dimensions y, null coalesced to 0. And we'll do final dimension. Okay, and then inside of my overflow container, resize board and place cards, we're going to do a new vector 2i. We're going to make it a 2x2 minimum size here, so it looks a little bit nicer. Also, can you skip accepting any cards? Anytime cards are offered to the player, you cannot skip it. And the reason is because you can always get something from the card. And so like, even if you don't want the card, the option, if you don't want the card, is to sell it to get money, right? So I don't want the player to skip acquiring cards, because the cards are also a source of currency. So let's say that you don't want the spider card. The solution there is just to drag it into the sell here and get some money out of it, and then you're good. So yeah, anytime cards are offered to the player, you cannot skip. You have to do something with the cards, even if you just sell it. And that's a very intentional decision that I made, because then it makes it, I guess it's like part of the balancing of the game, because like cards are a big source of currency. And so if you basically say, I don't want any of these cards, what then happens is you just convert that opportunity to gain card power into currency instead, which you can use later on to acquire more power, right? That's crazy how your game is mostly UI control nodes. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm using control nodes all over the place. Even for things like detecting card hovering, There's a little square control node here that's doing the mouse enter, mouse exit signal handling. Cool. Yeah, once I add some art for that, that's going to look really nice. But yeah, I think this is good. So the one thing that I do want to try is the eyeball event. I mean, I'm sure it will work. Maybe I don't need to worry about that. Automatic. I mean, there's really no way for this to go wrong. On node visited, add card to overflow. Yeah, I don't really think there's a way to go wrong there. Now, the one thing that I am curious about is if the boss will work. Run manager, state boss. Mixed signal boss, on boss board, event state machine finish, state combat preparation, state combat victory. Oh, that should just work. Yeah, that should just work. But I should probably try it anyway. So let's do project settings. Debug notoriety level is 99. We'll go into the boss fight and see if I still get my spiderling out of that. Yeah. Quite a lot of games are just UI when you break it down, incremental games, etc. Yeah. There we go. There's some cultists there. Okay, put this here. The Inquisition's eyes shift to the growing darkness. Probably don't want that announcement to happen there. But that's okay, we can figure that out later. The main thing is that the card overflow system works. Cool. So support minimum dimensions and resize board. Very cool. All right. So I basically just need to do the art for that now. I think I fixed this bug, but we'll keep an eye on the errors just to make sure. I'm pretty sure that that would be the bug though, because this algorithm here is not even worth calling an algorithm. It's very straightforward. I think I just had a minor logic issue here, so I think that should be fixed for the most part, but we still got that error being printed here, so if it happens again, I can try it out. Let's take a look at what else we got. I'm having trouble with my UI for my pixel art game. I want smooth edges on rotation so resolution is 1920. Camera zoomed in. How can I make the UI look pixelated without drawing everything big? If you're on Godot, if you're on Godot, what you need to do is you set the canvas resolution to a low pixel art resolution. So like 640 by 360. So instead of zooming the camera, you set the canvas resolution to be smaller. And then what you do is you go into your display settings here and you use the canvas items stretch mode. So what that will do is that will keep all of your pixel art sharp, but everything will be proportional on screen. So I just changed the mode here. Oh, something weird happened. But anyway, I actually don't know if you'll notice it too much in this game, but I just changed the canvas items mode here to canvas items mode. And you'll notice that there's not as much like chunky pixelation. There's not like any chunky pixelation anymore. A bunch of things are broken here. That's all right. But anyway, that is a way to get all your pixel art proportional on screen with proper sizing, but also retaining like smooth rotations and whatnot. You can set the canvas and screen to different resolutions independently. Yeah. So the canvas resolution is like whatever resolution the game gets drawn to. And the window size is basically, or the screen resolution or whatever, is what that canvas gets stretched up to fill the screen, right? So you could imagine like you create a little tiny 640 by 360 image. That's the image that the game gets drawn to basically. And then that image gets scaled to fit the window. Now there's different scaling options that make that not quite true, but with the options that I just showed you, that's basically how it works. So the canvas items mode is interesting because it maintains the proportionality, but it also provides higher resolution so that when your pixel art is rotated, it draws very sharp and smooth. But if you use the viewport mode, then that's basically like just drawing to a tiny resolution and then scaling that image up to fit the screen. UI in Godot has viewport settings, but like you really put high resolution, the only way to zoom in your UI, because zooming the camera doesn't touch UI resolution as you scale it. Right. That's why I'm saying like don't use camera zoom, use a smaller canvas size, and then that should just put everything proportional. So I guess it would be, if you're using a 1920 by 1080 resolution, that divided by 4 is what? I guess that's half of 640 by 360. Oh no, I'm wrong. Never mind, don't listen to me. You'll just have to figure out what your canvas resolution should be. So take your 1920 by 1080 divided by 4, if that's what your camera zoom is, and that should be your new canvas resolution. And then all of your UI and all of your gameplay should all look consistent and scaled properly. Hello, Chris. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else we can knock out. Let's see. An obelisk reveals a node. Get doing a new art for Grow board event. I'm still working on that. Update map node tooltip. Add mini boss node. Allow opening combat log. Obelisk power for new Grow board event. Okay. 1920 by 1080 divided by 4 is 40 by 270. Thank you. How did you celebrate the new year? I was playing Arc Raiders and No Rest for the Wicked with my friends. That's how I did it. You know me. I love those Arc Raiders. I'm trying to think of what we should do next. We're kind of at the end of the stream here, but let me just check something really quick. Sorry about this. Just gotta check it. Okay, anyway. No Rest for the Wicked. Good choice. First time viewer here. Happy New Year. Hello, Xanti Shade. Good to see you. Or X Anti Shade. I don't know what it is, but yeah, No Rest for the Wicked is very, very fun. I am very eager for the 1.0 release. Setting the stretch mode to canvas item seems to have worked. Thank you all. Happy New Year. Yeah, you're welcome. You are welcome. Yeah, I don't really know. A lot of these are very, very involved here. So, all right. I guess it's a good place to stop and get some lunch. I was hoping there would be like 1 or 2 other quick things to do for the stream, but I'm going to get some lunch and then I have to work on a lot of this stuff off stream because there's a lot to do. I do want to get a new playtest build out, hopefully within the next couple of weeks here. So I'm going to try to get all this stuff done within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then we can do another playtest build, see how it works. I have a feeling the alchemy system is going to need a little bit more thinking to get that to work, because again, one of the problems is that when my friend played, he didn't really make use of the alchemy system too much, so I need to figure out. I do like the idea of having the alchemy system give you a currency like alchemical residue or something that you can use to increase the size of your board, because then it ties, I think that ties everything together very nicely, where the player is then forced to use the alchemy system if they want to increase the size of their board, and that also gives them a reason to alchemize all their cards together, and that will also present them with opportunities to get stronger things. So I really like that. I think that would be really nice. And then of course, if there could be other sources of alchemical residue as well, maybe I could make reagents sell into alchemical residue instead of blood. That could work as well. Anyway. First time it's a Z sound. Okay, Xantishade. Gotcha. Double quarter pounder of cheese. Well, see, we just had a giant snowstorm. I literally just looked to see if I could have a double quarter pounder of cheese delivered. And there's nobody out on the roads doing deliveries, so I'm going to have to go get it myself. Anyway, nice first stream of the year. Yeah, it was a good one. All right, well, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I hope to see you there, and hope you all have a great rest of your day. Happy New Year's Day. And yeah, bye-bye for now.